So what's going on? Um, so I know I did a book review the other day, but I wanted to kind of do something to supplement um, the book reading playlist or I guess journey that I wanted to take. So I'm reading a book now. I'm going to read it day by day. It's called 10 Days to Faster Reading by Abby Marks Bill and the Princeton Language Institute. And it's essentially um, speed reading training for comprehension and retention. So some of the whys that I already mentioned, but some of the other ones are read in less time. Let me set this up. Read in less time. Understand your material with greater comprehension and accuracy, and also for retention. And then inside the book, and this is all for day one, introduction/day one. So one of the pieces on why, a few reasons why some people aren't good at reading faster or reading better is their attitude towards reading. Like they see it as more of a chore. And maybe it's just because of certain childhood things that they may have went through in school, or maybe in your upbringing, reading was not a skill that was really harped upon, right? Also, lack of training. So just like I said, going back to our childhood or back to our schooling, even if you were taught or pushed to read, you may have picked up bad habits that aren't the correct way to do it. And then also time. I think even people who enjoy reading, you have this pile and pile of books that you say, I'm going to read this, I'm going to read that, and we never find time for it. So you never get a chance to develop those skills and continuously hone and refine those skills. So something I thought was very interesting inside the book was they have something called a first trial. So this is basically to set a benchmark for your skill level. How good of a reader are you? Are you poor, average, good, or I think the last one was great. And I did pretty good. So what essentially was is 400 words. You have to read this in a certain time frame. So you'll time yourself with a stopwatch, anything like that. And then afterwards, you'll have to answer 10 questions. So I ended up doing a minute and 5 seconds. So I was a good reader. So in between 345 to 400 words per minute. And then I answered the questions. I feel like I could have hit 8, but I ended up doing 6. And they say, 7 to 10 is where you want to be at. And that shows that you have great retention in the material that you read. And then another note that one other thing that I saw was the 10 school lies, or the lies that you may have been told at home or at school. And starts off with you have to read every word. And I don't think that's true. I think some books, if you really think about it, they have a lot of fluff. They also have you need to sound out or read aloud each word inside your head or out loud. Another one is to not use your hands or your fingers. And you'll see something called pacers, which is essentially using that same technique in order to actually read faster. Also, that you need to completely understand everything. I want to look into more of the techniques, but I'm kind of like with that one. You need to remember everything. I can see truth in that because sometimes when you just know the concept, you don't have to know like the word for word, but you know the basic idea, and you can always refer back to it. So that makes sense to me. Go for quantity. More is better. That's not necessarily always true. Just like I said, there's usually a lot of fluff in books. Don't skim, that's cheating. I don't believe that. Because you think about it, most books have a heading and all those things where you can go right to where you want to get to, and then you can find out key information, which will speed up your reading, which I'm pretty sure that the book will go into detail with that. Also, don't write in your books. It doesn't matter what you read, and that speed is not important. So those were the top 10 school lies that they were able to study. Now, the first introduction of a technique to improve your reading skills is pacers, which essentially force your eyes to move in a downward directed pattern. And that can be your hand, your pen, or a blank white card. And an analogy to it is like a pace car. So you can speed up, slow down, but you keep a continuous pace, but you don't stop, essentially. Um, and based on what the book is saying, each day will add a new pacer. And then as you go along, you may find out that you prefer using a pen, or you may prefer using a blank white card to actually be your pace card in this case. And so in chapter 1, it introduces the first pacer, which is a white card, something like this. So usually what people do is they read, if the page starts up here, they have the pen or they have the card, and they go down and cover the words that they're planning on reading. But what the book says initially is to start from the top, and then so you can see all the words that you are planning on seeing or planning on reading, and because you don't need to see the words that you or the lines that you already have read. So I thought that was something that would be very helpful just initially for me, and I'm pretty sure for you as well. So all in all, that's just day 1. I'm going to do day 2 today, and I'm going to record that probably. And I'm just going to do a playlist of this for all 10 days. And then I'll do a summary of, the top tips or the top lessons that I gained from this book and how I plan to apply them to the 50 to 100 books. Because I spoke before that I wasn't really sure on doing 100 books or not. And I was going to do 50, like one per week. But if these techniques can double my output, then I can still move at the same pace as 50, but actually do 100. So I'm looking forward to this, and that's why I'm going to do a quick pit stop to complete this book and really take notes and retain the techniques that they have inside this book. So that's all in all. I will talk to you another day. This is Kendall. I hope everyone has a great day.